And we are live. Hello, everybody. Happy Saturday. Today I am here with Amber. You might know her as Astronomer Amber on Instagram. I have a huge crush on this girl because she's amazing. So
It's mutual.
I'm very, very excited to basically talk to you about our lives and journeys into STEM.
Oh, do
Very
you have your chocolate?
Oh yes, of course, of course.
Okay.
What can like I have a little library of chocolate here. If
That's adorable.
It's a very, very cute package. My boyfriend got it for me for Christmas actually. Yeah. I Amber and I started talking, and then we figured out that we both love chocolate. So we were like, okay, let's do a live stream where we eat chocolate and talk. So guys, if you like chocolate, you're gonna enjoy this because we're gonna be having some yeah. As you can see, you remember how I said single origins? So you see how I have chocolate from Peru, Ecuador,
That's
Venezuela,
amazing.
and it really does taste so good. It just, you can taste the different tastes. So, but right now I'm gonna be having, what is this? Dominican Republic. What about you? What's your chocolate?
Um, Mine's from Market District, a
Oh,
giant eagle, and it just says Market District, so I think giant eagle makes it.
that's awesome. As long as it's dark,
Oh,
that's
it's dark. Yeah, it's
the
really
main.
dark. But
Oh, amazing.
I like
Awesome.
the between like 73% and like 85%. Like, yeah,
Same. Same. Actually, how did you start eating dark chocolate? Because a lot of people find it too
like
bitter.
bitter.
Yeah,
Uh, how did I start? I like don't even remember when I didn't eat chocolate.
fair
Like,
enough.
I think it's like with wines,
Mm-hmm.
you start getting a taste for it. I always liked chocolate, and I always liked chocolate cake, and I liked that really rich dark chocolate cake with the ganache,
Oh,
and oh,
just
now I want
speaking
cake.
my language. Same. That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, I think it does can't come as an acquired taste because dark chocolate is sometimes yeah, you need to really appreciate it.
Yes.
That's very true. Yeah, in my case, I wanted to start eating dark chocolate one summer. I think I was 14 at the time, and my dad was like, "Oh, you want dark chocolate?" And he has a funny sense of humor, so he got me 2 bars of chocolate that were 99%.
Oh.
And he was like, "Before you finish these 2 bars, you're not getting any more chocolate." And I was like, "All right, challenge accepted." So I ate them, and after I ate that 99% chocolate, it just, any other chocolate, like 85 chocolate, tasted like the most sweet type of chocolate ever. So guys, if you ever want to try get into dark chocolate, that's another way to do it.
Just go all in.
Just go all in. Just eat something that tastes like bitter butter, and then you will start appreciating real dark chocolate.
Mm.
Yeah, that's awesome. But today we are planning to talk about our paths into STEM and starting from our childhood. Amber, can you tell me what you were like as a little girl?
So I've always been interested in astronomy. I had those like kid space books, and I liked earth science, and I liked learning about clouds. I was always interested in science class. And my dad actually got a telescope when like just a small one, when I was, I think in the fifth grade. And we like pointed it at the moon, and I was always fascinated with it. And I was always very into comic books and superheroes.
Awesome.
And like I remember because now being into superheroes is cool. Like everyone has superhero t-shirts, everyone watches the Marvel movies. But back then it wasn't cool. And I just kind of kept it to myself, but I was a total comic book nerd.
That's amazing.
And yeah, like I'm so glad that I was. And now I'm like the only one of my friends that could keep up with everything that's going on in Marvel because it's going so crazy now. But
Seriously, yeah, it's so mainstream right now, but back in the days it really wasn't. And who was your favorite character?
I think Storm from X-Men. Like I like DC, but I was a huge Marvel person, and I was huge on the X-Men particularly, and I thought Storm was the coolest. So
That's awesome. Yeah, I grew up watching a lot of stuff what my cousin was watching, and he's a huge nerd as well.
yeah.
And he was watching a lot of Ninja Turtles at the time. It was before they came back and became big again, because my 12-year-old sister watches Ninja Turtles and she's like, I'm Raphael or whatever. But yeah, we were watching that, and Pokemon also.
Oh, yeah, I watched Pokemon.
And Pokemon Go just hit it in the right spot when it came back. That's awesome. And is there a specific was there a specific thing that triggered your interest into STEM? Was it the telescope, or was it just in general you always had the tendency to go there?
Yeah, I think it was that it was something I just always found interesting. I liked reading about earth science books. And actually, one year for Christmas, my older brother got one of those like kids' chemistry sets where it's like a murder mystery kind of thing. And you have to do like forensic science to figure things out. And he didn't want it. Like has never really been that interested in science. And so I got it and I played with it all the time, and I got more of those, and it just kind of manifested. And I always loved science. And I'm really glad my parents were super supportive, and they're like, oh, she likes science. Let's keep getting her more like science toys and science books, because I think that's a big problem now that lots of times girls don't feel supported in wanting to go into STEM fields. So
yeah. I agree. Yeah, it's really sad when, the parents kind of kill that ability and interest. Not ability, but interest in something because they don't support it. But that's great that your parents were so supportive of you pursuing it and really learning more, and that's awesome. It's very inspiring. I actually see a lot of parents nowadays who have little girls and they're like, yes, I want to teach her about programming. I want to teach her about
yeah.
And it's
a big
so
push.
Seriously, it's so inspiring. I don't know, have you heard of the book Rebel Girls?
Rebel Girls. No, I just know like the one that's the coding book for girls.
Which one?
It's the one with I think it's called like Code Like a Girl. It's the one with the kind of teal cover and has like the equations on the front, and the words are in like black and yellow.
That's awesome. I haven't seen that one, but I need to look it up. That's great.
But yeah,
it's amazing.
There's 100% more books than there was when we were that age, because there wasn't any really.
Yeah, exactly. Like it wasn't kind of a thing that people wanted their children to get into from a younger age, whether they're girls or boys, I would say, in terms of coding. But yeah, science
definitely not for coding.
Definitely not for coding. But you know what I've just realized?
What?
Just been talking and we haven't been eating chocolate.
Oh, yes. Let's talk with our mouths full.
Let's talk about our mouth full because that's more fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess, in my case, I was always quite nerdy, and I was surrounded by surrounded by nature when I was growing up. So I was always into, I went into the forest. I would study the little plants myself and play around with just whatever I could find. And I think my biggest trigger was my IT class when I don't know why I ended up staying after a class, but I was really interested in solving more problems and doing more things. I don't know why, but we were studying Visual Basic, and I was 10, I think.
Wow.
We started doing stuff with Visual Basic, and I got super into it. And that was so awesome because I ended up doing projects that I was submitting into the whole like countrywide competitions in Russia. And yeah, that was a huge push for me, but then I kind of forgot that and went away from science because it wasn't really a path in my head. That's like the sad thing, is that a lot of the times girls are interested in it, but they don't think of themselves as pursuing the career in that field.
I agree. And lots of times it's not even like consciously, they're like, I don't want to do science. It's just that these other opportunities come up and people tell them, you know, you're so great with people, and you know, you're so great at literature or humanities, or you're such a people person, and they just naturally go towards these courses because people aren't saying, hey, you would make a great scientist, you'd make a great programmer. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but there's a lot of girls that would say they don't feel that they missed out by not going into science because it just wasn't a conscious thing where they're like, I don't want to go in. Like, no one forced them out of it.
Yeah.
Which is a problem a lot of people don't realize. Like, the problem isn't that, like, people are telling these girls, you can't do this, and this isn't for women, and all that. It's that it's just, you know, kind of everyone a bit on a subconscious level is telling you that you would be better suited and happier in something different, which may not be the case.
Exactly. And I guess it's also a fear of the unknown. Like, what do you do as a scientist? Is that going to fit your maybe needs in terms of lifestyle? Can you be also having a family and being a scientist? You know, it's kind of these things that, you know, I'm not saying that every girl is thinking about having a family, but a lot of times that is a consideration, and the types of lifestyles that you can have. And it's amazing that right now on Instagram, there's so many women who are researchers that are just documenting their lives. It's amazing. And you're one of them, which is awesome. I'm so inspired by people like you. Seriously. It's amazing. And what another fun question is, what did you want to be when you were small, when you were a child?
I don't think the picture's here, but I have a picture that I drew in the 6th grade that has me being an astronomer for NASA.
Oh my God.
And I found it through my stuff a few years ago because I didn't remember that that's what I wanted to be. I just always knew I loved space. But like, I like misspelled astronomer, I misspelled research, and like all my stick figures, but it has me working like in a lab coat doing research for NASA.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I always wanted to be an astronomer, which is crazy. Like, I never wanted to be a singer or a princess. I just always wanted to study space. And yeah, when I found that, I was like, oh my gosh, because I thought I just wanted to be an astronomer kind of in high school. I didn't realize it went back that far.
Oh, that's amazing. So, but between that drawing and between high school, was there anything else that you wanted to be? Was there an evolution of your, you know, ideal career, or was it always kind of like either astronomer or nothing else?
Well, I remember my mom telling me that like an astronomer wasn't a job because some people don't know. I was like, oh, it's not a job, or like it's, you know, definitely not a popular job. I considered going into the medical field, like being a doctor or a surgeon, because both my parents are medical, and I know a lot about it, and so I considered that. But then mainly when I went on college visits and I looked at brochures and what you could major in, as soon as I read like the astrophysics description, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this. There's going to be like hundreds and hundreds of people in this major. There weren't, you know, a very, very small major. But I was like, how could you not want to major in this? It was
That's
kind
amazing.
of my thing. What about you?
That's awesome. Well, mine ranged from, oh my God, I wanted, when I was probably 3, I wanted to be a rabbit. Wanted to be a rabbit. I didn't want to be a human. I wanted to be a rabbit because I was obsessed with little rabbit stuffed toys that I had, and I was the mother rabbit, and we would always migrate between the different areas of the house, which was always problematic because one of them would always get lost on the way. So I wanted to be a rabbit, and then I had so many different things. I wanted to be a hairdresser. I wanted to be, of course, I wanted to be a singer at some point. I wanted to be a radio host. Wanted to be a businesswoman and all that stuff. And then when I actually started university, I had no idea what I wanted to be. It was pretty disorienting, and I still don't really know where I will end up, but I know that it's not about, the direct path.
Yes.
In some cases, it's really nice to explore your options and open a lot of doors and just go wherever your passion is and whatever makes you happy.
Right.
So yeah, still don't know what I want to be.
Yeah, no, it's still, I think that's something very important, because when you're, in your 20s, you want to have everything figured out, and you want to know what the next step is, and you want your success to be linear, like in terms of how you see it. But that's like for millennials, especially, that's just not the case. And, just a linear thing, it's boring and it doesn't challenge you. So, I mean, I don't know if you are, but I'm used to getting like rejected from things, if you apply.
Yeah.
And you just got to keep applying and keep trying different opportunities. Like when I'm thinking, now, what am I going to do with, my, like with astrophysics after grad school? And I might, continue in astrophysics. I might go into outreach and, just work on getting the public interested. And I've also considered just going into data science, just like working for a company like Google or Instagram and doing data science, because I really love the programming.
Fair enough. That's awesome.
I dropped chocolate. Oh, I got it.
Oh no.
I found it.
Man down.
It's all right. We got it.
It's amazing that, there's so many different ways in which you can use your skills as long as you know how to, right? They're called transferable skills for a reason at the end of the day. Yes. But back to childhood, I have an interesting question from Glenn Codes, who's been just amazing and following all of us females in technology. He's trying to get into the industry himself. And he asked if there was any object, any toy that you were particularly, you playing with as a child that maybe has triggered your love for STEM. Was it that kit that you were talking about, or was it something else?
I would say just constantly being in those, it was called a discovery store. And there were these kits. There were, like, I got all the spyware, like different kinds of goggles and, like spyware. I got different, like astro things like star charts and telescopes. And then I got all these science kits as well. I think just like go let kids loose in a science store, in the science section of a library, just being exposed to all that. There wasn't one toy that I can think of. It was just like, I always liked new pieces of technology, and I liked going to science centers. Like science centers, I think, were my favorite thing, where you go and you get to spend the whole day learning about different aspects of science. And I loved working with my hands and creating things. Like if you just have a smashed up, like old piece of tech, like a computer, a keyboard, a DVD player, anything, like it may be dangerous to let your kids play with it, but like I would play with smashed up tech and like just like put it together, like make a tower. It's all just being surrounded by tech, and being surrounded by different science toys. Like there's some great toys now that I wish I had then. Well, actually, like I have them. You know, I have my like Women of NASA stuff, and I got my little like Legos.
So cute. Oh my God. I love it. Did you get them as an adult already?
Yeah.
Perfect. Amazing.
Now I can just buy the toys myself, which is great.
I want this thing and I know I will use it.
Yes. So yeah, there's different kinds of toys to get women interested in science all the time. I actually saw, I don't know if you saw this, the commercial for Barbie did it, and this girl has a Barbie doll and she's pretending to that she's a professor and teaching a whole bunch of students like about the brain. And yeah, I don't know, like everything it definitely stepped up an extra level since then. And, you know, Barbies are great too. Like pretend that you're a science teacher, pretend that you're an astronaut. Yeah. I want more toys now. I want to go buy some toys and play.
Seriously, you've inspired me too. I'm going to this Girls in STEM event after a little later today, and apparently they have really cool like robotic stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited now that we've spoken about toys to go there and find those. Apparently there's some rings now that you can just take and program them so that when they touch different types of surfaces, different colors, for example, they make different noises.
Like that's really cool.
That's really cool. Oh my God. I wish we had those as children, but hey.
I remember having like robots, like really poorly made robots, but like ones that like bend down and like they pick something up and like they could like move back and forth.
Yes, same. We didn't have as many, at least in Russia, or at least I wasn't exposed to them, but yeah, definitely. And just building stuff with Legos that would also have like a hinge or something like that. That would be fun. That was awesome. And I have a question from Handy on IG about the first programming language. What was the first programming language that you've learned?
I learned C++ and MATLAB both at the same time. And they were the first languages that I learned.
How old were you?
I was in college. The first programming class I took was in college, which actually, like brings me to the question, who asked it? Discover New Horizons. He asked, I'm 19, so is it too late to learn to start coding? And no, it's not too late. Like I started in college. I was probably like 19, 20 when I took my first programming class in C++ and MATLAB.
Perfect example. That's a perfect example. And then you're doing it now all the time. Like it's never too late. It really isn't ever too late. Even if you were working in the industry, for example. I know this girl who is awesome. She worked in human resources for a while. And I think she might be older than me. I don't know, but she worked in the field for a while. She has a lot of experience in the industry. And then she was like, you know what? I'm not enjoying this. I want to change my career. And she was always interested in tech and problem solving because it's all about problem solving, right?
Right.
Just that, from different angles, using different tools. And she got into a boot camp, which teaches Ruby on Rails, and now she's basically a proper developer with a portfolio, and she's looking for jobs.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's amazing. And there's no right or wrong time to start learning how to code. As long as you want to and you dedicate time to it.
Yeah, that's a perfect answer to that. Yeah. What was your first language?
Visual Basic. Visual Basic when I was around 10, and then I was very into it, and then I did more stuff with just visual stuff. I was animating, making little cartoons, and also programming a little bit because I was making presentations and games on Shockwave Flash. But then I dropped it all when I went moved to the UK and focused on learning the language and surviving in the new environment. And then it was all about, oh, okay, I want to end up in business. So I actually didn't revisit learning how to code. And this is coming back to the previous question. I didn't revisit that until after my master's when I was 24. And was I 24 or was it 20? No, I was 23. No. So like it's any time is a good time.
Yeah.
As long as you want to do it.
Right.
Yeah. So all of the other questions that I have are not necessarily related to the topic of, your journey into STEM.
Right,
So
yeah.
do you have any more questions that are related to that?
Let me see.
And guys, in the comments, you can also ask us questions. I've seen a couple. I will go back to that. But yeah, first of all, we're going to be answering the questions about the journey into tech, into STEM.
Okay, let me see. I was trying to find the comments. My computer's being slow. Yeah, so I don't really have any that relate to like my childhood growing up. But yeah, I have another question from Space Cats Go Climbing, who asked, when did you start coding? So we just answered that. And what's its link with astrophysics? So I get that question a lot. Like, people are surprised that I linked astrophysics and programming, but one of the reasons I started programming is because it's necessary for astrophysics. Like everyone in astro does programming, and because you get data from telescopes, you're either an observationalist or a theorist.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're an observationalist, which is what I do most of the time, you get data from telescopes, and then you have to do data science on it. You have to do data mining and then do different kinds of plotting and different research, and it's all about programming. And that's mostly done in IDL and Python. And then if you're a theorist, you have to create simulations, and all simulations are done through programming. So almost all astrophysicists, if not 100%, use programming every single day. And a lot of my friends who got their PhDs in astro went into industry and into tech fields because it's very employable. So, yeah.
That's awesome. And were you going into astrophysics knowing that you would end up coding, or was it just a thing that happened along the way?
It was kind of a thing that happened along the way. Because when you start the major in astrophysics in college, it's all math. It's math, chemistry, and a bunch of physics courses. And then in your second and third year, you take a bit of programming, but you don't take a whole lot. But then when you get to grad school, it's like the first day your advisor's like, I need you to write this program that does that. And you're like, oh my gosh, like I have to do this. And they want it in Python. So it was kind of a sink or swim time where I just fully dedicated myself to learning Python and producing all these results in Python. I really think they should make you take more programming classes in an astro major because it's all you're going to do in grad school. But yeah. Yeah.
Fair enough. But it's awesome that you get to learn this and follow your passion and solve problems every day.
Yeah.
What kind of so you're analyzing and data mining, but what kind of are the daily I guess questions that you're trying to solve? Like, if you could just put it more simple.
For like my research?
Yeah, in your research.
Oh, and I also want to say that I was really like terrified of programming at first because you see everyone doing it and you know you're going to have to do it. And like it seemed like really difficult and I didn't know if I wanted to do it. And after getting to learn it, I realized how awesome it was. And, I would have been happy being a computer science major too. Like once you start doing it, you realize it's just solving a big puzzle, and it's a lot of fun. And you do get frustrated, but it's very rewarding at the end when it actually compiles and outputs your result correctly. But so my day-to-day, so I do galaxy evolution research, and the questions...
Sorry, that's just like, wow, that's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, so my data is from galaxies, very early galaxies, from the light that I'm getting is from about 10 billion years ago, which is the first 2 to 3 billion years after the Big Bang. These are very active galaxies. They're forming all the stars that are going to go supernova and create all the elements that we're made out of. And I study different ionization and metallicities of these galaxies, because we see how galaxies are today, and then we see how they were billions and billions of years ago. And we're trying to create a theory for how we got from point A to point B. And yeah, so I'm looking at the chemical evolution of these galaxies.
That's insane. And that is why you need chemistry when it comes to astrophysics, because you need to know all the elements.
Yes, so that puts together my chemistry, my physics, my calculus, and programming. So you get it all, and you can have chocolate too. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which we, by the way, are forgetting to eat.
I'm eating it. I already got like this much gone.
Oh wow, that is, you go, girl.
Yeah,
I've been talking too much. So, all right, let's go to the next question. Do you have any more questions that are specifically related to that, or should we move on to general questions?
Let me think. Okay. I have a question from someone who wants to remain nameless, but do you think that in the future there'll be an equal number of men and women in STEM? Why don't you go first?
Sure. I really hope so. I think that a lot of things need to be changed. And so it just depends on when we're saying the future is. If it's in 10 years, maybe not yet. But hopefully in like 50 years, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I really hope that, because like we were discussing, there's a huge push for women, for little girls to study and be interested in the STEM field. I really hope that the next generation of girls will be more active when it comes to these fields, and therefore their children will be even more active. So
yes.
I really hope that we are now creating the wave that will create a wave, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Of people who will get into the field. So I would say it just depends on when you're saying the future is. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen in 10 years, but it's going to happen. It's a little by little.
Yeah, what about you? I absolutely agree that some fields are moving faster than others to equalize the number of men, women, minorities. And I think it definitely will happen. And I think the process on that is directly correlated to the effort that we put in, companies put in order to get people of color, women, everyone else equally exposed, have equal opportunities to pursue STEM fields. And I hope that future is sooner rather than later. But every year we make progress, and I think it's the progress in that isn't even linear, it's exponential. And like, we're putting in so much effort. I see everywhere people wanting, to get as many kids interested in STEM as you can, because those are the jobs we need. So
absolutely, yeah. And I really think that there will be more and more jobs, at least when it comes to from basically from my research, in the research that I've been doing around jobs in tech, there's already a huge gap, especially when it comes to cybersecurity and fields that are not necessarily as explored right now. And there's a huge gap already, and then it's going to continue even more. But another question actually that is related to that is from our chat from Elsie Zurob. Sorry if I'm pronouncing your name or surname wrong. But she's saying, "Hi, chicas. I have a question about what you guys think. What do you guys think we as female scientists need to improve or change in order to reach equality in the field?" Amber, since you're more involved in the field, I think you have more experience to kind of, talk about that in terms of the workplace. What do you think could be changed and we as women could change?
Okay, and that's kind of the ultimate question, right? That's what we're working towards every day. And it definitely varies field to field, but just having a very inclusive environment and a place where women feel that they can, say the things they want to say, that they can speak out, that their input is well received, that they can dress how they want and not worry about being judged or evaluated based on that. I know a lot of, there's a lot of women in tech and STEM fields that, just, they'll wear like baggy clothes or they'll wear sweats. And again, it's almost like a subconscious thing because they might be like, no, I like wearing this. But there's maybe if they saw girls like dressed up or wearing heels, like very confident in their appearance, maybe they would want to do that too. And they're just not really given that option. I know there was this woman from the Jet Propulsion Labs that came in and talked to our class, and she mentioned how she walked into a room and she loves her heels and she loves dressing up, and she came in and she was like fashionista, fabulous, and she went in there, gave a talk, got the job done, and at the end of it, another woman came up to her and she's like, I love how you're dressing. I didn't think I'd be comfortable, wearing heels or dressing in trendy clothes like you did. Now I'm going to do it. And, you can just see that kind of thing happening over and over again. Like if you don't want to dress up, that's fine. But having the option to, and knowing that people aren't going to judge your work based on your appearance, it's very important.
I completely agree. And having been in a tech company, I have to say the same thing. I like to do both. I like to dress up and I like to dress down. You should see what I'm wearing right now. Very much dressed down.
I'm wearing pajamas on the bottom part. I put on a regular top for this.
Same. Well, this is a T-shirt that my friend and I have created. It's actually like a feminist T-shirt. It's basically a woman. We took the concept of that women sometimes don't speak out in meetings or their ideas don't get taken seriously, but when a male colleague would say that, they would be taken seriously. And this is kind of like a monologue by a girl that is not necessarily confident. And then this is her explaining her idea, and then a colleague basically saying this idea, and then the girl will be like, yeah, he's right. But yeah, sorry, I went on a little...
No, that's right. That actually makes me think of a point. For something that you can do to actively help make women feel comfortable in STEM is, whether you're a girl or a guy, if you're in a meeting and you, if one of your fellow girls raises her hand and makes a statement or a suggestion, and it's good, you should back it up. There are many circumstances where a girl either knows the answer and is just afraid to say it, or she'll say something that's basically the answer, and then a guy will say it slightly differently afterwards, and they'll be like, yes, that's right. And all you have to do is just raise your hand and say, like, you know, I totally agree. Amber had a great idea, or based on what Amber was saying, like, you know, just give credit when credit's due. And also just encourage them to speak up. Like, if you know your friend's like thinking about something in the meeting, they kind of have like a look of like they want to say something, or they have a question, and just encourage them, be like, hey, you got this, like go say something, like you have great ideas. And I think that, you know, that helps, that goes a long way.
I agree, completely agree. It's very important to support each other, and unfortunately, you know, or at least in some cultures, girls are brought up to be competitors for a man, and it's like, oh, so you are basically trying to look prettier and do all these things, and basically girls end up seeing each other as competitors. But no, we should support each other. We should not do that. It's silly and unproductive. And
you got to build each other up instead of tearing each other down.
Exactly.
I think the post I made the other day for International Women's Day, I talk about, you know, truly being happy for when a woman achieves something great. In, you know, the fields of STEM, and you often see women very competitive against each other. And, you know, I haven't really had any problems. My best friends have been normally guy friends in astro and physics, just because it's, you know, there's so many guys and only a few girls. Yes. And unfortunately, not all those girls have been that nice or welcoming. And you know, it can be really sad and frustrating, because when I see another girl in STEM, I'm like, "Ooh, you're gonna be my friend! Like this is gonna be great! Like, we're like girls sticking together." And a lot of girls have that mentality, but not all of them, which is unfortunate. They feel sometimes that, you know, if another girl succeeds, that they won't, that someone else is taking their place. And, you know, that's not the fault of individual girls. That's how we, you know, raise them, that, you know, be the smartest, be the prettiest, be the best, and, you know, be the center of attention. And if you're not, then you feel like you're losing and someone else is taking something away from you. And we just can't have that mentality. And ultimately, the way to combat that is just being really confident in yourself, like understanding that it's okay to fail, but it's only once you achieve that confidence in yourself and your abilities that you can really be happy for someone else. And like when someone else publishes a paper, you know, that's great, that's amazing. When someone else gets an award, you know, like, you totally deserve that. You know, just, you can't be thinking, I should have applied for that. Why am I not further along? Why don't I? Everyone moves at a different pace. Everyone's time will come. You just gotta support women when it's their time.
I agree. I completely agree. It's, you know, we're making the pie bigger. We're not taking the pieces of the pie away from each other.
I like that.
Yeah, or pieces of the chocolate.
The chocolate.
The chocolate is just getting bigger. We're not taking the pieces away one by one.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I completely agree with you. It's so important to support other women, because like it's all about that. We have to be, and men support each other, right? And why? And we support men. It's like, come on, we're sisters at the end of the day. Well, not maybe biologically, but yeah. I actually had a question around what we were talking about, and let me just see. Yeah, so it was from I'm very sorry if I'm mispronouncing the name. Ramya Krishna, 14. How do you deal with programmers' anxiety and also gender issues at work? So I think we've discussed the second part, the gender issues at work. But programmer's anxiety. Since I'm not a programmer professionally, since it's kind of like a hobby and a passion of mine, I can't really speak to that. But Amber, have you ever experienced that, and can you talk about that?
So the question about the programming part was about programming equality for women?
Anxiety.
Can you just...
So, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Programmer's anxiety.
Okay. Yes. A lot of people ask about that. As I said before, when I started grad school, I had a ton of anxiety because the first time I met with my advisor, the first assignment he gave me was programming in a language that I didn't know. And I also just wasn't that familiar with programming. I had done research and I had worked with programs, but I hadn't really written my own like big program. And really, it is stressful. It's like everything you're first starting to learn, but you just got to dive right in and just, have Stack Overflow just pinned on your Google so that you can look at it when you want. It's sometimes, I think, easier if you have an assignment in mind. Like if you're starting like a job and there's a goal ahead, you just got to start working on it and start thinking about it. And you just, like everything else, it just piece by piece, and especially in programming, because it's a big picture puzzle and you're just putting one piece in at a time, and you're just running bit by bit, and eventually you have the whole thing. So programming is intimidating, and things will not go over smoothly the first time. The first codes you write will not look pretty. But understand that everyone around you has been where you're at. And anyone that I've asked for help has been more than happy to give me advice on why my program isn't working, why it's outputting the wrong thing. And I think it's just like anything where you're feeling anxious and you're feeling imposter syndrome, and that's knowing everyone else around you has been where you're at. And you just gotta keep the goal in mind that you want to be a programmer, and just think, this time in 6 months, I'm going to be good. This time in a year, I'm going to know this so well. And like in 2 years, I'm going to be teaching this to other people. Yes. Baby steps.
It's very true. It's very true. And yeah, what you just said right now, first of all, I've interviewed Al from FalkU, and I don't know if you've seen my video with her, but she was talking about that exactly, because she started in the field just a year ago, and it's so inspiring to see how far she's come. But she's talking about that imposter syndrome and the fact that everybody has to start somewhere. Nobody is born being a perfect programmer, and to be honest, when you're learning new things, you will end up having to learn again and trying to figure stuff out. Yesterday, I was having a chat with this amazing girl who is a backend developer at Airbnb, and she is super into blockchain right now. And we're planning a video together. And we met at ETH Denver hackathon and Ethereum hackathon, and she was talking about how she was trying to figure out Solidity and how Solidity works and how to program, all about all of the stuff when it comes to blockchain. And she was like, oh my God, some of these little things took me 5 hours to figure out. And you just have to go through that. You just have to keep a goal in your mind and keep at it, keep trying to solve that problem. And and you're not alone.
Exactly. Yeah. And I did watch your video, and Allison did a great explanation of imposter syndrome, and we all experience it. I've had a few imposter syndrome workshops done from different faculty, and I'm sure there's if it's bad, like there's online videos for it, and probably whatever company you're working in, pretty soon everyone's going to have talks on imposter syndrome, because I don't even feel like an adult. No one in their 20s feels like an adult. Like everyone feels like an imposter about something. So Yes.
To that, I'm planning to write my syndrome because I've always felt like an imposter everywhere. And being at Google, they actually start 50% of their talks or their trainings by stating the statistics, which is something like 97% of Googlers feel imposter syndrome. Just crazy, right? It's like, what? But it's so true. Everybody feels it. It's just sometimes people have to put a confident face on and power through, and then some people really sometimes it gets to them. Just power through. Everybody is in the same boat.
Oh,
Yeah.
I got a question, like
Awesome.
a follow-up based on what we were talking about women in the workplace. Like this is from Magan Ramal, and I'm bad with these two. How do I make more women feel included in the workplace?
I love that.
Yes. I think it's kind of what we were saying before. Women are your allies. They're not your competition. And especially if someone is like a new girl starting on the company, like whenever there's like a new girl that's coming into wherever I'm working, I immediately go up to her and say, like, introduce myself, say she's gonna love it here. If she has any questions, I'm here. Like, we should go out for drinks. And normally their face lights up, like they're so excited that someone came and approached them, because it's very intimidating for them to go and because they don't know anyone. And yeah, I always try to be like the first person. I'm like, oh, that's a new friend right there. You gotta go and do it. Like I always say, like if there's another girl that in your field that you don't like, she just better, be a bad person. Like I'm not gonna judge any other girl based on how they're dressing, the decisions they made with their lives. Like if a girl doesn't want to be my friend, that's fine. But like I'm always looking for more female friends in tech. So
That's very true. That's very true. And sometimes we don't even, yeah, sometimes it's difficult to understand how to make them feel welcomed. But I would say for anyone really, the best way to kind of feel more empathetic towards women at a workplace is, I mean, I wouldn't say it's the best way necessarily, but I would really recommend reading Lean In. Have you read it, Amber?
reading what?
Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg.
Lean In. No.
You haven't? Oh my God, please read that book. It's
I will.
incredible. And it
We'll
talks
write it
about,
down.
seriously, it talks about different things. Like, for example, Cheryl is running late for a meeting. She was working at Google at the time and she was really pregnant. And and this is like the extreme case of and she was talking about how she asked the management, well, Sergey Brin and Larry Page, to start having pregnancy parking spots closer to the building, closer to the entrance or something like that. Like how to accommodate women in those little things. And you and I potentially have never thought about that problem, right?
No.
So I think that's a great book in terms of empathizing with women of all that are facing all of the different issues that may arise, because stereotypically the workplace is adapted to men and how they work, but it's nice to also think about these things. How do you make sure that talent doesn't go to waste because these people have to deal with these issues?
Yes. Absolutely. Can we talk about books for a sec? Because
Sure.
always looking for new good books. So you said Lean In is one of your favorites.
Yes. I can't see you for some reason. Wait, say something again? Huh.
Hello. going? You've been going in and out too.
Wait 1 second. I think there is a problem with the Wi-Fi.
My Wi-Fi.
Oh. Oh no. I think it's back. Say something.
Hello?
Hello. Yes, perfect.
Hello?
Okay. Sorry. I think there was yeah, I think there was a problem, and on the main thing it's stuck. I think it was a problem on my side. So on the live right now it's just showing my my image. Interesting. But hey guys, it's a 2-minute delay, so don't worry, we're back with you. So yeah, you were saying about books. You want to discuss books?
Yeah, so one of my favorite books, especially when dealing on the issues of women and inclusiveness, is The Only Woman in the Room by Eileen Pollock. And have you heard of it?
I have heard of it, but I've never read it, but I'm actually opening Amazon right now.
So it's a book about Yale's first physics graduate, female physics graduate, and actually she was the second. And it talks about her entire life. It's written by she's a literature professor right now at, I believe it's Michigan State, and she went back and discussed her entire childhood. She went back and analyzed everything, like, because she majored in physics. She was one of the first women to major in physics, and she always loved science, and she always wanted to be a scientist. And she's looking back on it and trying to figure out where did I switch? Like, why, because she has always loved literature too. She's a literature professor, but she really takes a good look at all the microaggressions that you see, like just being judged, or like little side comments from people you meet based on your appearance, side comments from your parents about getting married or finding a man, comments from professors, like the ones that encourage you and the ones that don't. Because lots of times science professors, even if you're getting A's, no one's telling you you'd make a great scientist. Whereas I was in art for a long time, and people, like professors and people who would see my art, would tell me, you're a great artist, you should pursue this. People didn't really say the same about physics or astro. I did that because that's what I wanted to. But no one was telling me like I would make a great scientist. So
yeah, I've seen your work. You've posted on Instagram, and oh my God, girl, you're so talented. It's amazing that you have so many different dimensions to your personality and talents, because, I mean, at the end of the day, STEM also is creativity, right?
So much creativity goes into STEM. Like, goes into trying to figure out how to program. That's one of the main things I'm always telling people when they talk about, because I don't know if you've heard people say this, but I've heard people say, oh, I would have gone into like physics or tech, but I'm just too creative. And it's, like, I get, like, if you don't like math and you don't want to do the math and then do the science, but don't use, that you're too creative as an excuse not to go into creating technology, into creating stuff like iPhones, and to making Nobel Prize discoveries. Like, it's all that's creative, and it's such a creative process. And art and science mirror each other more than they differ from each other. And yeah, like, art requires intelligence and science requires creativity. And yeah, that's something I'm very passionate about talking about.
I agree. And we can do a separate live stream just on that, because there's just so much. And it's so true. You wouldn't, if you're not necessarily right, you would just like stay in your daily routine in terms of how you are doing things, and you will never discover things. So people who discover things are the most creative ones out there.
Right.
Like, sometimes even, I don't know how to measure creativity though. Like, I don't know if there is a scale to measure creativity. It's all about inspiration and all that stuff. But
right.
Yeah, it's incredible how much you can use creativity in tech.
Yeah. I mean, every day in art and every day in science, you're trying to create something new, trying to do something that hasn't been done before. And that's the scientific process, and that's the creative process. And yeah. And we were talking about books.
Yeah, we're talking about books. We started with, by the way, that's in my Amazon cart right now, The Only Woman in the Room.
Yeah.
Yes, Why Science is Still a Boys' Club. Yeah, I'm reading it off the Amazon title.
Yeah. And I'm going
so
to
excited.
get Lean In, book Lean
Yes.
In. Who's it by?
It's by Sheryl Sandberg, and she's incredible. Also, I'm now finishing Girl Boss. Have you read that one?
No, it's on my list though.
Oh my God, please read that. That's amazing. Everybody who's watching us, please read that too. It's awesome. It's by Sophia Morasso, who is the founder of Girl Boss and also has founded Nasty Gal. Sorry. Nasty Gal. Yeah. Which is also like a super inspiring story because she wasn't planning to build a business. She's just started an eBay store to sell some vintage clothing to be able to pay her rent. But then it just blew up.
Yeah.
Because she's dedicated and smart. So I have another question. Oh my God, it goes really high up. Let me just see who it was from. Okay, so Stefan, sorry, Langinau. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing this. I'm really bad with pronouncing stuff that I've never heard pronounced before. But
well, you can pronounce names in English and Russian, so that's
I don't. Thank you. But if I pronounce this one in Russian, nobody will really understand. Langinau. Stefan Langinau. Sorry, I've really mispronounced your name at this point. I was just doing it in Russian. But a question for Isa. What is your favorite?
I think you cut out.
Oh, okay. Sorry. NASA or ESA? What is your favorite?
So ESA is the European Space Agency. I would have to go with NASA because I'm American and much more familiar with NASA's work. I have toured NASA. I have friends at NASA. I've collaborated on projects with people that work at NASA. And it's, I've wanted to work at NASA forever, have the Women of NASA Lego set. I'm just kind of obsessed. And both are incredible. Both I would love to work at. But I would have to pick NASA.
Fair enough. And another question that is, I guess it's, yeah, they're kind of there a lot of questions around this, but the first time I got this question was from Jack Trade JRL, and I know he's watching on the live stream as well. I've seen him answering asking that question again. I'm assuming it's a he because it says Jack. Sorry. You might be anybody who you associate yourself with, but basically a question for you, Amber. What would you recommend for beginners who want to get started in data science? Like, are there any resources, or what would you recommend starting your focus on?
Okay. It's a really good question. So there's a lot of different, it kind of depends what you want to do with it. If you want to do it as a hobby or if you want to really start a career out of it. Either way, there are a lot of great free online sources. There's, depending on what language you want to learn, I would just go on YouTube. There's a lot of great YouTubers that do data science through Python, through R, through Perl, through Fortran, like whatever you want to use and learn. And then you can get the basics with that. There's also a book that's...
Oh, I think you've cut off. Ooh. Or maybe...
Good.
Amber?
Hello?
Hello? Oh, we're
Hello?
back.
We're good?
Hi. Yeah, we're good. Yeah, sorry. I don't know. It might be internet on our side. Sorry about that, Amber and
It
everybody
might
else.
be mine.
I
Um,
I don't know, but in any case, you were just you were talking about the YouTube side and how there's so many different people on there who could provide with some guidance. And then you cut off for me at that point, so I don't know if that
okay.
was broadcasted. Do you mind just
Yeah, yeah.
repeating what you said after?
So there's a lot, like I said, it depends what you want to do with it. If you want to do it for a hobby or if you want to go into data science, I would, there's a lot of free online sources, and depending on what language you want to learn, I would just start Googling, really. And um, also, your library is a fantastic source. There's a lot of programming books there. There's this really good Python data science handbook from Jacob Vanderplas, and it's a really good resource for wanting to learn data science in Python. And oh, okay, I thought I
Yeah.
lost you for a second.
No. I'm
Uh,
here. I'm listening.
okay. And if it's something you want to do professionally, I would recommend first learning it a bit on your own and looking at GitHub accounts, YouTube videos, podcasts, and books from your library. And then I would recommend possibly taking a boot camp, because boot camps have connections. Basically, you can't really get hired as a data science unless you have proof that you know what you're doing. And yeah, so I would recommend just diving right in to get started and just looking for resources. Code Academy, Khan Academy, Coursera, all of them have classes. I know that I think Khan Academy and the Software Guild and Code Academy all have free courses that you can take and see what you like. There's a lot of different pathways in data science, different languages. Um, there's, you might even want to be a developer. Might want to go into cybersecurity. So just get a feel for that, and then I would say really invest your time and some money into a boot camp. And then that's how I see a lot of people transitioning into data science fields without a data science background.
Yeah, there's so many incredible resources online, and it just really depends on what you want to focus on.
Yeah.
I agree. And also about astrophysics. Sorry, I'm mispronouncing. Astrophysics. There were some questions around from Ruhan, who is also the Jack Trade person, on the chat asking, how does calculus help in astrophysics? And I think you've covered that, but just, in like a very simple answer, how would you answer that?
For when I create a program that does the data mining I need done, lots of times I have to do certain conversions, and which don't exist. Like, there's not you can't like import a module that will do it for you. I have to do it longhand, and it takes calculus. If you want to, it's not, you can't use like a unit converter to convert some of the stuff. It's stuff that, people will just make estimates for, and it's all new stuff. So yeah, like I have to actually do the math longhand. I have whole notebooks of just doing the calculus, understanding the physics behind it. Like it literally combines, I have to take the principles of chemistry and like all the cues from particle physics, because particle physics is what links chemistry to like the astrophysics. And there's rules for how you can there's rules for how, especially in my research, when I deal with elements, there can only be certain ionization temperatures based on the substructure of things. So in order to relate the very small to the very large, you need calculus, I guess.
Wow, that sounds very complicated.
It's not a very simple answer, but it's not a simple process. So
stuff you need to really consider when making these calculations and this data mining. That's amazing. That's like, seriously, I'm bowing to you, girl. Like, it's so cool what you're doing, and just keep on inspiring people. Seriously, it's awesome.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's not the most fun part of the day doing that.
I can imagine, but once you've done it, I'm sure it's like, it feels so good.
Yeah, you feel pretty cool when you have like all these equations and calculations. You're like, yeah, I know what that means, kind of.
Exactly. That's awesome. And I'm very sorry if I'm missing names again. Basically, the question is, what are the programming languages that you would recommend for astronomy and astrophysics?
Oh, okay. So I think everyone agrees that Python is the future. Like, my advisor doesn't program in Python, but I do. Almost all the younger generations that are currently grad students, a lot of the postdocs and some professors, most people are converting to Python because the biggest language in astronomy is IDL. But the thing is, you have to pay for a license if you want to use IDL. So Python's free and very useful, and I think people are switching to it. I know some like astrostatisticians that use R, and I think R is becoming more popular, but I would definitely recommend starting with Python. You're gonna probably need to learn a little IDL just so you can deal with codes. Like I had to learn a little IDL, learn a little Fortran, and learn a little C, because sometimes the codes you get, they're not written in Python ever. And yeah, so I would definitely start with Python and then work your way into other languages just as you need them.
Fair enough. Yeah, there's just so much. Amazing dealing with that on a daily basis. It's just, yeah. we need to include you into the Rebel Girls book next time. I didn't expand on that. The Rebel Girls book is basically a book of nighttime bed stories for little girls, highlighting the female role models. So there is a piece on Grace Hopper and all of the other amazing women that have achieved great stuff. And yeah, we're definitely putting you in the edition number 3. Oh. I'm gonna email them now.
That's so sweet.
It's awesome that what you're, and I think that because we've been talking for so long and we've covered so many topics, let's maybe wrap up with I have a question that
I have a question too.
Oh, you have a question? Go for it.
Okay.
Sorry.
So this is from my chica. So like I actually know her. And she said, I'm watching you guys. I have a question for you. What is your mindset when you show up to work, and how to deal with those hard days? Like, is it positivity and stubbornness? And she says, lots of love to us.
This question is just in line with what I wanted to also ask, because Elsie Zurob, who also is called Liz apparently, is asking literally, what is your mindset when you show up to work every day, and how do you deal with stressful times? And there's another person who has asked a similar question, Coding New Yorker, basically when it comes to a lot of things, a lot of moving things, how do you deal with stress, and how do you basically end up working out. So perfect. Let's answer this question.
Yeah, they sent me that one too of dealing with so yeah, let's
do this.
Chocolate.
Perfect. Oh my God, yes.
Just chocolate. Like this is how you deal with everything. You just eat chocolate.
Eat chocolate.
Chica, I know you know what I'm talking about. You're listening. Chocolate.
Chocolate. And also I think that a big outlet, at least for me, is working out, going to the gym regularly.
Yes.
It's because if you feel good about your body, you're more confident.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily for vanity purposes, it's for circulation and all of that good stuff to keep yourself.
And because of the chocolate.
And because of the chocolate, because you had way too much the night before.
Yeah.
And you have to burn it up.
Chocolate hungover.
Yeah, exactly. I've never had that before, actually. But
I've had it with sugar. Like every Halloween, you just eat all the sugar.
Actually, no. Now that you're reminding me of this, at some point I had a night in my just university life when I bought 2 packs of like these huge bars of chocolate or whatever. And I ate it all. And I was on my laptop and my hands were literally shaking like this. It was really bad. I was like, oh my God, what is going on? And I started smacking my hands because I was so scared. I was like, stop this, stop it. But I couldn't stop it. I was just shaking because there was so much sugar in my system. Don't do that, kids. It's not good. Sugar overload is never good for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that when it comes to the mindset, it's very important to be honest with yourself about what you can, what you can't do, and just be honest with yourself about those things, and appreciate yourself when you have done a good job. And if you haven't done a good job, don't beat yourself over it. Make sure you end up learning from it. That's the best mindset, I think,
absolutely. Yeah. And just just having your outlets, like the things that de-stress you. Some people really hate going to the gym or working out, but it's definitely an outlet for me. Like just when you're stressing, you have all these struggles, just like going and like, lifting something heavy or punching something, or, like just running until you're exhausted. All those things definitely help. It definitely helps to keep a good schedule. And I like eating healthy because it keeps my energy up. Eating a whole bunch of food that makes me feel gross just makes me feel gross, and then I don't want to do anything.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. I love eating. I love food, but sometimes you just have to really watch out for what you eat. For example, I find that I love red meat. I'm not a vegetarian. I love red meat, but if I eat red meat, I feel heavy. I feel like a python digesting all of that, whatever I just ate. So I try to limit that. And because I know that I will feel groggy and feel not so productive. I agree. Like, you have to really understand how your body works and how it reacts to different things. Some people might not find that. Some people might find that, they feel lighter when they eat red meat, but it's just not the case with me. So
yeah, that's good to really know your body. Take time to I know people that meditate, that you don't even have to like do it, too seriously. Just lay down for 10 minutes and just let your mind wander. I do a yoga class once a week. That's like a deep stretch yoga class. And then at the end, you just lay down, like everyone falls asleep. You just get time to relax and be calm and, just let your mind drift. I really try when I'm going to sleep to, I play like thunderstorms, and I don't try to think about like all the stuff I have to do tomorrow, the stuff I didn't get done today, because then you'll never go to sleep.
That's
true. You're just do the best you can and know that you're doing the best you can. And
I agree. And building up on that meditation practice that you were talking about, I think that meditation really helps me prioritize what is important in life and like kind of put things in perspective. Because at the end of the day, some of the little things are not worth stressing
Right.
about because they're just noise, you know, and you are not going to save lives by addressing them. Sometimes you just have to let them go and really prioritize what is important for you in life and continue with their day according to that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, awesome. I think that we've covered so many different topics, and I really hope
Yes.
that people have enjoyed our live stream. It was so nice to meet you in, well, digital
Yeah,
person.
digital space.
Um,
Yes, agree. It was so
because guys,
exciting to meet you too.
yeah, so exciting to meet you and talk to you in like, you know, human voice because we've only spoken through it's amazing that you can make friends through social media
Oh
nowadays.
yeah. I've
It's
made
awesome.
some just like so many great connections, like there's so many great women in STEM and yeah. Ah,
It's yeah,
it's such a great support system and a great network and so many girls that are like so proud of you for what you're doing and it's when I started my Instagram I never thought that that was going to be like I didn't do it because of that, but it was such a great thing to find and
definitely. Definitely, I agree. It's amazing that this community, the STEM community on Instagram is growing and hopefully it will inspire that next wave of the next wave
yes.
of girls in STEM. Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for joining. It was
Thank
so
you.
nice to be able to talk to you, and I hope you've enjoyed this. Please let us know what you think in the comments below the video or in on our Instagrams. And if you have not been following Amber, please do. The link is below in the description to her Instagram. So yeah, see you there. Have a great Saturday, everybody. Bye.
Bye.